Hello, everyone. This is Dr. DeAndrea Matthews, and I just wanted to go live to talk a little bit about my upcoming dream workshop. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am an international speaker, award winning author, Vice President of Diversity and Community Engagement, and Senior Pastor of Visions International Ministry. So that's just a few of the hats that I wear. It's a long list, y'all, just in case you did not know. But for those of you who've been following me, you probably already know that I just released my newest book in November, and it's called The Night Season, Unlocking the Mystery of Your Dreams. So over the last, I don't know, I'd say probably about 5 years, I have been teaching and leading dream interpretation workshops. For those of you who want to check that out on my YouTube page, there are over 250 videos on my YouTube page. I need to go and make a playlist specifically for dream interpretation, but I have at least 5, if not 10, different videos about different aspects of dream interpretation. I've talked about the 20 types of dreams that's included in the night season. I've talked about the 3 sources of dreams that's also included in the book. We talk about nightmares, where nightmares come from, and things of that nature. So it's a lot of great content on my YouTube page if you want to go and subscribe. It is under my name, Dr. DeAndrea Matthews. So you can go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. But I want to talk more about what to expect with the upcoming Dream Interpretation Workshop. It is coming up Friday, January 6, 2023 at 6 p.m. It's going to be held in Southfield, Michigan at Detroit Book City. So thank you so much for all that you do, Detroit Book City, to raise literacy in Detroit. Thank you again to Distinctive Chick for my t-shirt. She is fearless. Absolutely. It's a good reminder, especially in today's day and age, especially in this season that we're in, to remind you that you do not have to succumb to fear. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. So it's okay to be fearless. It's okay to go out and do exactly what it is that God is calling you to do. So I want to go ahead and start with a quote from The Night Season. And this is actually from page 16. This is a part of the introduction. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this small section. And it says, stop treating your dreams like junk mail. While you are sleeping, your guard is down. Therefore, God whispers into your spiritual ears. He's not the only one trying to capture your attention. So do not dismiss the dream realm. It represents important messages from the spiritual realm that can impact your life and your destiny. If you are a dreamer, do not dismiss your dreams. Those are important messages, and I want to be able to help you to understand what those messages are. You also want to know what the source of your dreams are, because the dreams can either come from God as a part of the heavenly realm, they can come from the enemy as a part of the demonic realm, or it could be the result of self. You might be saying, what do you mean the result of self? Well, there's so many things that can impact what we dream about. For example, if you were watching TV right before you fell asleep, or if you were listening to the radio while you were sleeping, those things impact your dreams. If you are on specific medication, the medication could have an impact in your dreams. So I also talk about some of those methods of interference that causes interference that, again, intercepts or changes the dynamics of your dreams. But ultimately, you want to pay attention, because sometimes our own wants and desires impact our dreams. And it's not necessarily a message from God. It's not necessarily, a deception or anything from the enemy. It's just something that we think about, we desire, and we want. So we need to be able to distinguish between what's a dream from God, what's a dream from the enemy, and what's a dream that's just based on our own selves and possibly our soul. So we dig into the information about that, and we'll talk about that in the workshop as well. But for the most part, we'll talk about the sources of dreams. We'll talk about the 20 different types of dreams. There are 20 different types of dreams that I cover in my book, and we'll cover that in the workshop as well. But overall, the goal of the workshop is to give you the tools so that you can be able to interpret your own dreams. I'm not going to interpret dreams for you, and I would never charge to interpret dreams anyway, but I want you to have the tools to be able to interpret your own dreams. I'm a teacher by nature. I've been teaching for goodness over 25 years now, but I want to give you the tools to be able to do it for yourself. We know that according to Job 2:28, dreams will continue to increase. Dreams and visions will continue to increase as we move closer towards the end of time. As a result, you need to be able to understand those messages that you are receiving during the night season as a part of your dream life. And this workshop will be able to give you some of that information. So let's see. It says a strange or even disturbing dream is an invitation to go deeper with God. If you've ever had a dream and you didn't know what it meant or it disturbed you, you're like, well, why did I dream about that? What does that mean? Some of the symbols that you dream about, we're going to go through some of the common symbols. I'm going to actually take each person who's a participant in the workshop and allow them to bring their dream journals. You'll be able to have your own dream journals, and we're going to go through the dream journal and pick out one of your dreams and show you exactly what to do so that you can use the tools that you're being taught. So we're going to teach first, we're going to train you and give you the tools you need to be able to understand your own dreams. I actually outline a 7-step process in my book, and that's what I'm going to be leading our participants through so that they get it. They understand how to recognize symbols. What do symbols mean in context? Again, if we use the example of the color red has a specific symbolic meaning. However, because I absolutely detest the color red, it means something completely different to me than it would mean for someone who actually loves the color red. So in context, how do we determine what these symbols mean in the context of our dream and also in the context of our personal lives? We will go through some journaling tips. Not everybody knows how to, hey there, Tanisha, thanks for joining. Not everybody knows how to write down their dreams. So if you're going to be interpreting your own dreams or trying to figure out what these messages are, you want to be able to record them. So I'll give you some journaling tips. It's important, again, to have a specific journal that you use for recording your dreams. I have tons of journals now from over the last few decades that I've been recording my dreams, but you want to get a specific journal for recording your dreams. You want to put a date on it, and you want to write down as many details as possible. As you're joining the live stream, go ahead and say hello in the comments so I know that you're here. You want to write down as many details as possible. Yes, it does matter if you are dreaming in color or if you are not. Yes, it does matter if the scene is kind of, muted or black and white, or even just it seems kind of dreary and gloomy. All of those things matter, not just the specific symbols, the things that you're seeing. If you are an observer or if you're actually a part of the action in the dream, all of those things make a difference and impact what the dream actually means. There are actually prayers and scriptures to pray. Sometimes I hear, well, I just don't remember my dreams. That's okay. We'll talk about why that is. There's a specific reason most of the time why people don't remember their dreams. So there are some prayers that will help you to remember your dreams. There's some scriptures that you can recite aloud before you go to sleep that will help you to remember your dreams. So we'll talk about remembering your dreams, being able to jot your dreams down in the dream journal. There are going to actually be some dream sample worksheets. So before you actually get into interpreting your own dream from your dream journal, we're going to have some worksheets and we're going to work through what that looks like. So you'll know exactly how to pay attention and to zone in on certain words so that you can understand what those symbols mean and how to pray and tie it all back together. We are talking about biblical dream interpretation. We're not talking about any other type of dream interpretation. The Bible is the foundation, and that's what we will use in this workshop to talk about how to get these messages from God. We already talked about the 20 common types of dreams. We'll go through those, what those look like. We'll look at some specific, what we refer to as popular dream symbols or dream language. Again, it's all about context. It's not just, okay, this means this every single time. No, it doesn't. Sometimes it means one thing, sometimes it means something else. So even if you have some dream references, and again, we'll go through, again, my favorite reference books when it comes to looking up dream symbols and things of that nature. We'll talk about what that is, but a lot of those symbols have multiple meanings. How do you determine which meaning goes along with what's happening in your dream? Again, we can't do the work of God without the Holy Spirit. So praying and asking for revelation is a part of that process as well. And then I'll actually lead all of our participants through the 7 steps that I use personally. I'm not giving you anything that I don't use. So I want to lead you through the 7 steps that I actually use when I am interpreting dreams. And that's pretty much the gist of the workshop. Teach, train, activate. That's something that, again, I share often as a part of Visions International Ministry, but that's just something I believe in. You have to have the knowledge first, which is why we want to teach, train, because you need to be able to put that knowledge into practice, and activate. When you leave that workshop, you should be able to, again, record your dreams, pull out some of those important symbols, pray about it, and go through the process of figuring out what these messages mean that you are receiving in the night season. If you have some questions, go ahead and make sure that you drop them in the comments. I'm only going to be here for a little while longer, but I did want to come on and just talk for a little bit about the workshop that's coming up January 6th. So it is a 2-hour workshop. It's going to be an intense 2-hour workshop. And it's the first time that I've done this in person. Again, if you've been following me for a while, I've done several webinars. I've done several workshops virtually on dream interpretation, but this is going to be the first in-person one. And I want you to bring your dream journal with you. Again, whatever dream journal you want to grab, whether it's something from this year, whether it's something from 5 years ago, doesn't matter. We're going to go through your dream. Each person's going to get individualized attention so that they understand the process, answer any questions that you have, and be able to allow you to leave empowered to be able to understand your dreams in a greater way. Now, I talked already a little bit about the 3 sources of dreams, and of course that will be demonic dreams, dreams from the soul, and dreams from God. I want to talk a little bit more about what that looks like, because a lot of times, again, I don't know if anyone's like me, but the first dream that I remember, I was about 4 years old when I started, again, remembering my dreams. It was I was much older than that when I actually started writing them down, but that's where my process began. Hey there, Tanya, glad you're listening in. But a lot of times in childhood, what will happen is, for those of us who are dreamers, there will be a nightmare or something traumatic that happens that wants us to not dream anymore. And again, that's how the enemy comes in a lot of times and wants us to make what's known as an inner vow. Sometimes people make inner vows and say, well, no, I don't want to dream anymore, because they don't like what they saw, or they don't like how it made them feel, or they didn't like that feeling of fear that they felt when they were going through the process. And again, remembering this dream or this initial dream in childhood. If the enemy can get you to be fearful in childhood, then he is going to be effective in blocking that method of communication that God wants to use to speak to you. And again, let you know whatever the message is that he's trying to communicate. So a lot of times those nightmares come to provide fear, to give you fear so that you don't want to receive messages through your dreams. But dreams and visions are a very viable biblical way that God speaks to his people. Again, sometimes the dream will feel dark. Sometimes you actually feel like someone is holding you down. You feel like you can't scream, or you open your mouth and nothing comes out. All of this is a part of dreams that come from the demonic realm, and we'll talk more about that. We'll talk about some specific scenarios, but ultimately those types of dreams are to get you to come into agreement, because when you come into agreement with something, again, there's power in agreement. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what that looks like. If it is a dream from God, please believe there is no fear, there's no condemnation. And as far as the dreams themselves, when we first start dreaming, a lot of times it's just a simple dream. Sometimes we have what's known as straight dreamers. And straight dreamers, you don't have to try and decipher the symbols or things like that. Straight dreamers get a message, and usually they see the message as it's going to appear. Sometimes we refer to it as deja vu, but straight dreamers receive information in the night season. They receive that dream and exactly how it played out in their head, unless someone intercedes and prays so that whatever is being seen or what have you is intercepted, because you can pray. And again, if you see someone that's getting sick in your dream, for example, we know that by his stripes we are healed. So sickness is not something that God wants us to have. So you could pray against that sickness manifesting. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about praying against something, something that does not align with the word of God. Again, the Bible being our foundation, you can pray against it. So sometimes it's a straight dream, and you can, again, use that to get information about something that's going to happen. Use that to pray and intercede about something that you don't want to happen. And again, using the Bible as foundation, those will be simple messages or straight dreams. There are also symbolic messages in a lot of dreams, and sometimes it's simple. And sometimes it's easy to figure out what's going on. It's not a deep message. And sometimes it's a little bit more complex. And whether it's a simple dream, a straight dream, or it's a more complex symbolic dream, I'm going to teach each of our participants how to recognize what those are and how to get the message that God is trying to give us. Again, you want to get this information because it's so important, because every day is different. Every day, God has something that he's trying to say to you. And even if God has been silent in your life, guess what? It's not because he's been necessarily silent, but have we been listening? Have we been receiving the messages in the way that God's trying to give them to us? And then finally, dreams from our soul, dreams from the soul realm, or dreams from what we're just going to call self. Again, interference can be a part of that, whether it's biological interference from the medicines that we're on, whether it is from, again, other types of interference from TV, radio, and things of that nature. In the book, I talk about how I used to watch Law and Order SVU all the time. I had to stop watching that, y'all, because all kind of crazy stuff was happening in my dreams. I'm like, nope, I cannot have this type of interference. I need to be able to get every message that God is trying to give to me. So cutting out the interference. We talk a little bit about your sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene is so important. And I don't know about anybody else, but the older I get, the more I love naps. Naps are a blessing from the Lord. So sleep hygiene is important because you want to be able to get the rest that your body needs. Now, please believe me, I understand probably better than anybody else how our schedules can get really hectic. If you have children at home, of course, that's another concern. If you have other people that you live with, and sometimes, they do things to interrupt that rest. I understand all of that, but sleep hygiene, getting the proper rest for your body is so important. So there is a section of the book that talks about that. Overall, you want to be able to understand whatever it is that's going on, whether it's something that you have to, again, cancel. We want to cancel all demonic assignments. We want to cancel any demonic agreements. We talk about that, what that looks like, how to recognize it, because there are so many things going on in the dream realm, which represents the spiritual realm. We want to be able to understand what's going on so that we can do what God has given us the authority to do. So that's kind of an overview of what's going to happen on January 6th. Again, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer your questions. Glad you're home safe, Tanisha. That's wonderful. So it says all interpretation is not good and can lead you to another area that's not of God. That's why we have to recognize the source of our dreams. So we want to recognize what the sources are. There are specific ways that you can recognize based on what you're seeing, what you're feeling, and things of that nature. We'll talk about all of that in our workshop that's coming up in January. If anyone else has any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. But in the meantime, if you have a copy of the Night Season, don't forget to go and to leave a review. The Night Season is available both as an ebook and as a paperback. It is available on Amazon. It actually debuted at #1 for new releases in dreams when it first came out. So this was a #1 new release on Amazon. It is also available on at Walmart. It's also available at Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. So if you don't have your copy and you're a dreamer, you want to go ahead and get your copy. This is what I consider to be foundational knowledge around learning about your dreams. If you don't know what dreams are, what dreams mean, where dreams come from, this is foundational knowledge for understanding your dreams, but also you learning how to get those messages from the spirit realm and from God. So that's my newest release. This is actually book number 14. So thank you. I appreciate it. This is actually book number 14. So I think I had some posts before that said it was book number 13. Yeah, I kind of lost count for a minute, but I went back and I had to check. This is actually book number 14. So, yep, book number 14. I actually published 2 books this year. The Night Season was one, and there is an anthology that I participated in called The Power of Prayer, an anthology. Pastor Mike Robinson was the lead author on that project. That came out in June. The ninth season came out in November. So I got in 2 books this year. I can't wait to see what happens in 2023. All right. The question is, how many spots do you have left for the workshop? As of today, there are actually 6 spots remaining for the workshop. I'm limiting it to only 10 people because, again, I want each person who comes to have that individualized attention. I want everyone to leave feeling empowered, like their questions have been answered. You get 2 full hours of my undivided attention in the workshop. But yep, it's 6 spots left as of earlier today. So thank you for asking that. All right. If there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and get off and go get some rest because I have been up since 4 a.m. My day starts early. So I do understand about getting some sleep, and I am looking forward to turning in tonight. So thank you all for those of you who joined me today. If you have some questions, even after the live stream ends, go ahead and drop them in the comments. If you're watching the replay, make sure you type in #replay. Again, for those of you who don't know me, Dr. DeAndrea Matthews, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.